Hey, what's up, everybody? Hope you're having a good day. I'm Jordan Dunlap, and welcome to another episode of Journey Through Jerseys. Now, today's episode is going to be a very special one because this guy is actually my favorite Negro League player. Mainly because, I'm from Atlanta, Braves, I got a rep for the home team. And just because of his story, how he overcame hate and broke the home run record. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, the story of Hank Aaron.
Henry Louis Aaron was born on February 5th, 1934. He and his 6 other siblings grew up poor in the Toomville neighborhood of Mobile, Alabama. His family couldn't afford to buy him baseball equipment, so Hank had to improvise by making bats and balls out of things he found in the streets. It was from these humble beginnings that baseball legend was born. While we all know that he was a legendary player as an adult, would you believe that at only 15 years old, he was good enough to secure a trial with the Brooklyn Dodgers? Yes, the same Brooklyn Dodgers that would go on to sign Jackie Robinson. And although he didn't make the cut, you could see that the young power hitter had a bright future ahead of him. In high school, he would play for some independent black teams in the area. One of them was the Mobile Black Bears, where he was paid $3 per game, which would be about $30 in today's time. And at this time, young Hank Aaron was managed by a man named Ed Scott, a former Negro League player who was responsible for the next phase in his baseball career. On November 20th, 1951, at just 17 years old, Hank would go on to play for the Indianapolis Clowns, one of the last remaining Negro League teams after Jackie Robinson went to the MLB. His new contract had him getting paid about $200 per month. And while this was a huge step for Hank, it didn't come without hardship. According to Hank, his own mother wouldn't see him off at the train station. But that wasn't his only struggle with the Clowns. He was not well liked when he first joined the team due to his age, and had one of his first experiences with racism while playing baseball, where after he and his teammates got finished eating at a restaurant, the employees broke the plates. Despite that, he made the most of his opportunity with the Clowns. As a cleanup hitter and shortstop, had about a .366 batting average, 5 home runs, 33 RBIs, 41 hits, and 9 stolen bases. It was enough to get the attention of the Boston Braves, who in 1952 bought his contract from the Clowns for $10,000. Finally, the young man who grew up without baseball equipment was getting his chance at the big leagues. But before he would play with the majors, Boston would send him to Eau Claire to further develop his skills with their minor league team. But make no mistake, Hank's skills definitely weren't minor. In fact, he was good enough to make both the Northern League's All-Star team and make Rookie of the Year, despite still dealing with racism. It was also a time of improvement for him. He had moved on from hitting cross-handed to a more standard batting technique. That next year, he was promoted to the Jacksonville Braves, Boston's other minor league affiliate, and once again proved that his skills were more than minor. He won the league championship and was awarded the MVP award during his time there. And championships weren't the only thing he won in Jacksonville. He also met his first wife, Barbara Lucas. In fact, on the night they met, she attended a Braves game where Hank singled, doubled, and hit a home run. But unfortunately, that success didn't change the fact that Hank was still a black man in America. And that meant that even though he was the MVP of the league, he still wasn't allowed to share the same hotel with his teammates. But that's not where his story ends. As anyone can tell you, a lot of things could change in a year. For Hank Aaron, this would manifest in him joining the training squad for the Milwaukee Braves after Bobby Thompson was injured. And, just like in times before, he stood out. So much so that just 2 years after the Braves, who had moved to Milwaukee, bought his contract from the Clowns, they finally signed him to their major league team at the end of training camp. On his first game with the Braves, the man who would go on to be the home run king made not one single hit. But he would make up for that a few days later against the Cardinals when he got his first hit, a double against pitcher Vic Raschi. And then, on April 25th, he hit his first home run, a first of so many. In fact, he would lead the league in home runs 3 years later. And as the years went on, a lot of things changed. Hank got a new wife, attitudes on race in America began to progress, and Hank would go on from playing in Milwaukee to playing in Atlanta. But the one thing that didn't change was the hits. And for Hank, they kept coming and coming and coming. Hank was racking up the titles, but even then he wasn't quite ready to be king because he still had one more record to break. Up to this point, the reigning home run king was Babe Ruth, who had racked up 714 home runs in his career. But Hank Aaron was riding his tail. And the rest of the world knew it too. Hank was determined. But unfortunately, a large part of America wasn't very excited about the possibility of a black player, or any player, breaking Babe Ruth's record. Although things had changed, unfortunately some things remained the same. He received many letters that began with racial epithets and attempted to discourage him from breaking the record. One of the letters even told Hank that they hoped he wouldn't break the record, just so they wouldn't have to explain to their child that a black man did it. And the craziest thing is, he wasn't the only one. His own daughter was a target of harassment, and even a kidnapping attempt, which got the FBI involved. Not even the journalists who covered Hank were safe from the threats. All that hate left a heavy toll on him, and affected him for the rest of his life. As the 1973 season came to a close, Hank had come within 2 home runs short of breaking the record, and many thought that by the time the season ended, he would do it, but unfortunately, he wasn't able to. And while baseball fans may have been disappointed, or some overjoyed, at this point, Hank was just worried about being alive for the next season. But despite all the hate that he received, he also received a lot of support from fans as well, including from none other than Babe Ruth's second widow, Claire Hodgson Ruth, who flat out said that her late husband would have been pulling for Hank to break his record. And so the 1974 season began. They say heavy is the head that wears the crown, but for Hank, I imagine his head was like 2 cinder blocks before the crown would even touch one hair on his body. On April 4th, 1974, his first game of the season, Hank hit a home run, and with that, he tied Babe Ruth's record. But he didn't break the record. Not yet, at least. On April 8th, 1974, the Braves were playing the Dodgers, a team that signed Jackie Robinson, setting the stage for history to be made. With the screams of the crowd, the barrage of hatred, and the knowledge that what he was about to do was bigger than baseball. During the 4th inning, Al Downing threw a pitch, Hank hit, and well...
Game. 1 ball and no strikes. Aaron waiting, the outfield deep and straight away. Fastball is a high drive into deep left center field. Buckner goes back to the fence. It is gone.
Second strike.
The Dodgers on the infield shook hands, and that was a memorable moment. Aaron is being mobbed by photographers. He is holding his right hand high.